This is Senior Bowl into his second year running the show in Mobile. Glad to have Jim Nagy with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Excited about it.
Big news.
This is awesome. It's the holiday season, and we're getting our gifts a few days early here as we learn who some of the players heading down to Mobile this year. Excited for that, and we'll reveal those players here throughout the show over the course of the next hour. But this is a long process, Jim. I mean, obviously we're getting kind of the final product here, but you started this process months and months ago. Give us a sense of what it all entails.
Yeah, it really started before last year's draft got to us. So it was like last March, April, we started watching players for this year's game. Really got to give a ton of credit to our scouting staff. So we had the country covered with 6 scouts. The main thing for us was hiring guys every year that have some NFL experience, have some ties. And I think we saw 114 of the 130 FBS schools this year in a bunch of smaller school games. So they worked really hard. So, yeah, this is kind of the culmination. And we took it all the way down to the wire. We're at 100 right now. So we're announcing this thing. We're at 100. We can get to 114. So we're getting close.
That's awesome.
We're getting really close, yeah.
That's great. I want to welcome all of you watching us on the live stream, NFL.com and YouTube. Also a reminder that you can catch this show and send it to somebody and let them know you can download it as you normally do, the Move the Sticks podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. So, guys, also it's going to be our pleasure to be joined by the Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham here shortly. Also, Auburn defensive lineman Marlon Davidson is going to be with us, as is LSU cornerback Christian Fulton. So be sure to stay tuned for that coming up here over the course of the next hour. But guys, let's start with the quarterbacks, shall we? As we get into the reveal here, a really talented group you had last year. 5 of the 8 ended up being drafted in the first 4 rounds, and 5 of the 8 will have started by Sunday a game in the NFL this year.
Yeah, Will
Greer makes his first start for the Panthers this Sunday against the Colts. Here's a look at who we got coming to Mobile this year to throw the ball around. Gardner Minshew has proven to be really successful for the Jags this year. We get another Washington State quarterback in Anthony Gordon heading down to Mobile. And revealed for the first time here today, guy, you want to talk about buzz? Jordan Love certainly had the buzz heading into the year, and he is now headed to Mobile, Jim.
Yeah, we're excited about getting Jordan, no doubt. He's carrying a lot of first-round grades out of his sophomore tape. I know that I think Bucky's going to talk about him a little bit here. We're excited about Shay Patterson, too. He's a guy we've kind of held off on the announcement. And Shay's a great example of why we see this whole process through, because he really earned his invite in the last month of the season. You go and you look at Indiana and Michigan State and Ohio State. He played really good football. He's a guy with a lot of arm talent. He's mobile. The guy's gonna have a really good week in Mobile. I have no doubt.
So back to Jordan Love here, Buck. We're talking about a guy that had a ton of buzz coming in, didn't really put up the numbers that we kind of expected this year, but had the coaching staff change there at Utah State. 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, but boy, a ton of intriguing talent.
Yeah, a ton of intriguing talent. A lot of why the buzz was on Jordan Love is because of the success that Pat Mahomes had. When you look at Jordan Love, you can see similar traits in terms of the athleticism, the natural arm talent, the ability to throw off platform. And when he was playing right, like he did 2 years ago, you saw it pop. You saw a guy that could be a top 10 talent. What you want to see down at the Senior Bowl, in my estimation, you just want to see what does he look like in an NFL offense. Is he a guy that maybe if you redshirt for a year, you can get what the Kansas City Chiefs were able to get with Pat Mahomes?
Right. I just want to see a guy that plays loose. Just relax.
The talent is there.
Watching the tape this year, just felt like he was pressing.
Yes.
And we saw him at the Manning Passing Academy this past summer, and Archie was telling me today, was texting with him and was like, man, there was all the NFL guys were talking to me about Jordan Love, and man, I just really liked him, not only as a thrower, but just as a kid. He really kind of one of those guys you wanted to be around, which is I think we'll find out down in Mobile. Let's get to Anthony Gordon here, DJ. We want to talk about a guy who can toss the rock around. 10 touchdowns in a loss against UCLA earlier this year? I mean, it was pretty impressive what he was able to do, the numbers that he put up.
Well, look, we've gotten to the point where you're not allowed to have a Senior Bowl without a Washington State quarterback.
That's right.
You go from Luke Falk to Gardner Minshew. Now, you look here at what you see in Anthony Gordon is somebody that's very efficient within this Mike Leach air raid offense. He's very accurate. He throws with great anticipation. My question, I haven't seen him play live, so my question was just what type of arm strength does he have? That top-tier arm talent, does he possess that? And that's why the All-Star Game is a great format for that, to get a chance to see him throw.
The Pac-12 single-season record holder in passing yards and touchdowns at Washington State. Now, you mentioned Shay Patterson, Jim, 2 years under Jim Harbaugh after transferring to Michigan from Ole Miss. What do you expect to see from him?
Yeah, I go back a couple years when he was at Ole Miss, and you saw him running around making plays. He had a little Johnny Manziel to him, just making plays off script and, like you talked about, crazy arm angles and off-platform throws, and they kind of reined him in a little bit at Michigan. But again, I think he had 4 coordinators in 4 years. So, I mean, you never want to make excuses for a player, but that's not an excuse. That's that's real. That's part of the evaluation. And so if Shay can just build off what he was doing late in the year, I think he's going to be in great shape.
Along with Steven Montez at Colorado, we've talked about 4 of these guys that you're going to have. How do you see the rest of the quarterback group shaping up?
Yeah, so we're still a work in progress. There's some big names out there. Obviously, Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winner. You got Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. Awesome. You got Justin Herbert. So we're in contact with all those players. They know how bad we want to get them to Mobile and how much they all can benefit from being in Mobile. So 4 top 10 guys in the last 3 years. That's awesome. I think they just want to get through these college football playoff games.
I think you just look back at last year. We look at Daniel Jones, what he did there, ended up being the MVP of the game. Yep. Giants have gone on record and say that was a key moment for them, getting to know him, be around him. Ended up being the 6th pick in the draft. And also Josh Allen, what he did.
Really benefited.
Really benefited. And Josh Allen, to me, almost similar to Jordan Love when you're coming through the process where the numbers don't look great on paper, but you can't deny the physical talent and the physical skill. If you've got that, go put it on display.
I think that's important. I think it's important to put it on display. So we talk about more scouts and evaluators being imaginative what a player can be, but the Senior Bowl gives you an opportunity to see a player right there with the cleats on to be able to envision what he could be at the next level.
All right, so let's look at how the quarterbacks are shaping up. Shall we get into the running backs and see who we got toting the rock here heading to Mobile? Here we go. Look at the 6 running backs now heading to the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Darius Anderson from TCU, 2,400 rushing yards and 18 TDs in his career. Ino Benjamin, you remember in 2018, ran for over 300 yards against Oregon State. Keyshawn Vaughn, one of 3 Vanderbilt Commodores we're going to see down in Mobile this year. But let's get to JaMycal Hasty, a last-second commitment here just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, we're adding him to the graphics and everything. Quite a team you guys got here. It's impressive.
Awesome.
No, JaMycal's a really talented guy, undersized guy, scat back type, but has a lot of burst. He's going to test really well in the spring, and the coaches at Baylor can't say enough good things. So we're really excited about adding JaMycal here at the last minute.
That's a fast football team. When you watch Baylor, their skill positions, they can go.
Yeah. Well, Utah will be well represented down in Mobile. 5 guys headed to Mobile, tied with Michigan for the most well-represented colleges down at the Senior Bowl. Zach Moss, Bucky from Utah. What do you see from him?
He's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites because he's a workhorse. I think when you're looking at running backs, you're looking for guys that have the stamina to be able to tote it 20, 25 times a game. But he's more than that. He's a guy that not only can run inside and outside, but he catches the ball out the backfield. A lot of times when I look at him, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Carlos Hyde in terms of that physical running back that can give you a little more. 19 100-yard games, 3 1,000-yard seasons. I'm excited to see him compete at the Senior Bowl.
That's really impressive. I mentioned that 300-yard game for Ino Benjamin. DJ, that was en route to the Arizona State single-season rushing record at over 1,600 yards. So putting that whole body of work together, though, what do you like about Ino?
Well, first of all, last year was a little bit better for him than this year. But when you look at his skill set, to me, he fits the NFL game more than any other back in this entire roster. Wow. To me, what he can do in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield, his ability, I think, to hold up in pass protection. I think he's somebody, Jim, he's not going to have to come off the field. He's going to be an asset to his team on all 3 downs.
Right.
Coaching staffs will certainly love that when they get down to Mobile. How about Keyshawn Vaughn out of Vanderbilt? Tell us what we're going to see.
Yeah, we're excited about Keyshawn. He was the guy I thought was going to come out last year. You know, we talked about the 3 Vandy players. They had the triplets with Pinckney and Kalijah Lipscomb. But similar to Moss, I mean, he brings a physical element to the offense in Vandy. And what he showed this year, he can catch the ball too. I think he doubled his production in the pass game. So again, 2,000-yard years in the SEC after transferring in from Illinois. Guys, from top to bottom, and just the way it fell this year, to me, this is the best running back group the Senior Bowl's had in a long, long time. Usually this is the hardest position for us to stock because usually the top backs all come out as juniors. So really excited about this group from top to bottom.
And is this a full roster at running back?
It is, yeah, but Hasty made it full at 6.
That's awesome.
This is like The Voice. My team is full.
We're good. We're good. No trades. I don't think you're allowed. No steals from the boys. All right, so as these guys look to make their mark in Mobile, let's take a look back at some of the best we've seen from the Senior Bowl.
I left the North-South game in Miami where they were trying me out at running back and tight end, not quarterback. So I leave for Mobile for the Senior Bowl, which was the biggest game. I went straight in, didn't check in, put my luggage down in the lobby, went up when I found out where Coach Schuler's room was, knocked on the door. He opened up the door and said, "Hey, Terry, how you doing?" I was shocked. He knew who I was. And I said, "Can I talk to you for a second?" Pulled him out of the doorway into the hall and said, "Are you going to give me a chance to play in the Senior Bowl? Because they didn't give me a chance to play quarterback." He said, "What?" You're my starting quarterback. You can play the whole game unless you take yourself out. And no, what are you kidding me? You're my guy. And I went, thank you. Stayed, MVP in the game, broke 2 ribs, got on a plane, went home. Big crowd waiting on me to get off the plane. Felt like a hero.
And I feel that the Senior Bowl opened up the eyes of a lot of people that that I could play and compete in the NFL. So the Senior Bowl made a world of difference for me.
You know, you better go to camp prepared to play, and not look at it as a just a throwaway game or a fun game that you're going to play in. You got to look at it as this is an audition for you and for your future in the NFL.
Senior Bowl memories was awesome. This was supposed to be the best of the best. I couldn't miss this for nothing. There's no other bowl game that I wanted to be in because I wanted to go up against the best guys. I also remember when just a bunch of scouts and coaches and things of that nature just standing over us, putting the pressure on us. So I loved that moment. It was a big time for me to go out there and show those guys what I was capable of doing. And I do believe that Senior Bowl actually helped me go from probably a second, maybe third round draft pick to a first rounder.
What I remember most about being in Mobile for the Senior Bowl was just all the different teams and personnel from different teams being there, and how you have to kind of put your best foot forward and try to impress them, because, you know, that's the first impression that they're going to get of you before, you know, going to the combine and seeing you, and then after that, the draft.
You were the MVP, so what was the game like for you?
Yeah, the game was awesome. I mean, you know, I was in there and I just wanted to show them that I actually was a versatile running back, that not only can I run the ball, that I could catch the ball, and I did it all that game. You know, I ran down on kickoffs, made tackles, you know, ran the ball pretty well and had a few catches.
What I remember about being in Mobile, Alabama for Senior Bowl week was just all the media coverage, seeing all the NFL coaches come around you. That was my first take on how they view you and how they separate you and make you stand up there and kind of view you and see if that's the money that they want to put into you. So it was scary because it was unknown. It was unknown waters. But would I do it again? Absolutely, because I was able to, while everybody in the National Football League was there, put my skills on display.
Take it seriously. You know, this game can really boost your draft stock, especially guys that, you know, a lot of the personnel people in the National Football League didn't get a chance to see. I was that guy. So take it seriously. It's one of your biggest job interviews you'll ever do. And have fun at the same time. Enjoy your peers. That's a memory for me that I will always remember. That was one of the best times I had coming out of college, being around all my peers. Certainly a fun time, but at the same time, it is a job interview.
Oh, fantastic triple header of football right here on NFL Network on Saturday. All 3 games with major playoff implications. We'll start down in Tampa with the Texans visiting the Bucs, as Houston now in the driver's seat in the AFC South. An AFC East matchup with the Bills and the Patriots, and we'll wrap it up in Santa Clara with the Niners hosting the Rams at 8:15 Eastern, all right here only on NFL Network. And now let's get back to the Senior Bowl roster reveal here. Looking at your cornerbacks, a highly skilled group of DBs here. You got Damon Arnett from Ohio State coming as part of what's been a factory of NFL cornerbacks for the Buckeyes. LSU will argue the DBU distinction. Christian Fulton will be one of the best of the class this year. He'll join us here in just a second. Another Golden Domer, Troy Pride, and Georgia Southern setting a corner in Kendall Vilder. And without further ado, let's welcome in one of the best in the draft class this year. Christian Fulton from LSU is joining us here. Welcome, Christian. Glad to have you, man.
Sir, thank you for having me.
Well, I mentioned the DBU distinction. Certainly LSU could lay claim to that with guys like Patrick Peterson. Tre'Davious White has become one of the best corners in the NFL. And when you get to Mobile, you're going to have a chance to compete with some of the very best cornerbacks, in addition to some of the best receivers in the country. Is there a sense of pride for you to go over there and represent LSU as one of the best schools in terms of defensive backs?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, every time that we step on the field as an LSU defensive back, we want to compete with whoever, no matter who we playing. We want to go out there and show that we're the best DBs out there that they're going to play. Like you said, we put them out there every year, and I just want to continue that tradition.
Hey, Christian, it's Jim Nagy. Let me first say, excited to get you to Mobile, man. Really excited to get you to Mobile. I'm going to start you off with a little bit of a softball. You're talking to a room full of former NFL scouts here, so let me be the first guy to ask you and not the last in this process. You've got a lot of good teammates at wide receiver, but in terms of who you played, who is the best receiver you've went up against this year?
Best receiver? I mean, all of them are great. You know, playing in the SEC, you can go against some great receivers every week. But I definitely say a lot of people wouldn't expect this, but I say Van Jefferson from Florida. He's definitely a pretty good one. You know, I don't think he gets a lot of credit that he deserves, but he was definitely a great receiver to go against.
Christian,
we'll see him at the Senior Bowl as well.
You're going to see him again down there in Mobile. When you look at your own game, you kind of self-evaluate areas you want to continue to improve on and areas you're focused on as you still have, hopefully a couple playoff games ahead of you as well as the Senior Bowl.
Just being more physical at the line of scrimmage, I feel like I can improve on that. Making more plays on the ball, the interception productivity can be better, I feel like. And also just being consistent with my game, when I'm on, I'm on. And when it's like always one or two plays that I feel like I give up during the game, so I feel like I can improve on that, and that's my main thing to improve on.
Early on, we asked you questions about DBU and upholding the legacy that exists in that DB room. So coming out of the Senior Bowl, what would you like us to say about Christian Fulton based on the way that you perform and play in the Senior Bowl?
He's a hard worker, comes to work every day. I want y'all to know that I compete at a high level, and I want to be known as the best corner to come out of this class, and also to be a great player down the line, that y'all see that I have the intangibles to be a great player down the line.
Christian, I just want to know one question. A lot of times we have players on. I know there's a receiver at USC speaks multiple languages. Do you speak Ed Orgeron? Do you understand that language? Because I'm curious on that.
Go Tigers!
I mean, Coach O been at LSU since I was in high school. So I've been talking with Coach O for a minute. So it's kind of the more you're around them, the more you understand them.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit of that too. We talk about some of the receivers you compete against in the SEC. You got some really good ones right there with you on your own team, including the Blitnikoff Award winner and Jamar Chase. What was it like for you, kind of going up against some of those guys all year long?
It's been fun. I've been going up against those guys since I got here. Me and Jamar actually went to high school together. We've been knowing each other for a good amount of time before high school.
Rumble in the house.
Yeah, no doubt. It's fun going against those guys. I believe that's what helps us be ready every week. We get to do one-on-ones against those guys, 7-on-7. So it's fun. We know we're gonna go against the best in practice. So it's kind of easy for us in the game.
Well, Christian, I just want to say thank you again for committing to the Senior Bowl. We look forward to having you over January 25th. You got a couple big games between now and then to get ready for, but good luck in the college football playoff.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
We'll see you in Mobile, bud.
Yes, sir.
All right, excited to see Christian Fulton. I thought that was pretty impressive, the way he went down some of the things he wants to improve on.
Very self-aware. I loved it.
Definitely. Let's get to the safeties that we'll see down in Mobile. Key member from one of the best secondaries in football this year in Cal's Ashton Davis will be there. We'll have more on Kyle Duggar from Lenore-Rhine here in just a second. We've got another Longhorn joining the Senior Bowl roster, and Brandon Jones, and a national champion from Clemson, and Kevon Wallace also heading to Mobile. But as we've seen at times during Senior Bowl week, some of the biggest names end up coming from small schools.
All right, stay here, Doug. Stay here, Doug. Come here. All right, got something special here today. You got anything planned for January 25th?
Nah.
You sure you got your schedule open? Doug has been invited to the Senior Bowl. Listen. All right, so listen, this is the biggest pro or scout all-star game for the NFL draft that there is, and it's going to be down in Mobile on January the 25th. This is your invitation. We're really proud of you. Congratulations. That's awesome. Now say something really good so we can have a great.
That is so cool, Jim, that you guys are doing that this year with the Senior Bowl invites and the acceptances. I mean, like right up there with walk-ons getting scholarships. That's what I love right there. That stuff. Seeing Lenore. I mean, you guys leave no stone unturned, right? From FBS to Group of 5 to 1AA to now we see
Division 3. We'll hit a Division 3 guy later.
We're
yeah,
gonna do it.
Yeah.
So DJ, tell us why Kyle Duggar. It will be such a good.
First of all, raise your hand if you've been to Lenore, Ryan, on a scouting trip. There you go. Buck has. That's what I'm talking about. No, I've been there, done that. No, look, this is a small school, but this is a big player. We always talk about when you watch somebody that's a non-Division I player in the draft process. I shouldn't have to look up your number. I should know who you are. And this dude jumps off the tape.
Goodness,
look how big he
look
looks like a defensive end on the field, but he's playing safety. He plays high. He can drop down in the box. He's got great ball skills. He can be used in the return game. There is a lot to like about his game. In the era where the NFL is going for more of these hybrid guys to match up with tight ends and backs and be able to cover in the slot, this guy can do a lot of different things.
Jim, what strikes you about him?
Yeah, I mean, the day I was there, he's 223 pounds, guys. He's going to be a will linebacker.
Dude.
This guy's only going to get bigger. And he ran 4.41. Sometimes these small school guys, 6'2", 225, running 4.41. That alone, like you said, man amongst boys, he's their punt returner. He gets a bunch of picks. They don't want to tackle him when he gets the ball in his hand. So
right.
I've had a lot of scouts say, Jim, he has to come to the Senior Bowl because it's really hard to evaluate him on the D2 tape because he's truly a man amongst boys.
Well, that's going to be fun to watch down in Mobile all week long. Another defense that was fun to watch this year, the Cal Bears had a really good unit. Ashton Davis, a big part of that. Jim, why did he get the invite?
Yeah, I think Ashton's going to be one of the better stories in this draft. I think when people really dig into his story and his backstory and how he got to Cal as a walk-on track athlete,
that's awesome.
And really bided his time and started on special teams and then you look at he's almost like a scout's dream because he's got this walk-on mentality and he's got a high ceiling skill set.
Track speed.
This guy's fast. He's got range. He'll hit. He's got ball skills. I mean, I was at Clemson recently with an unnamed GM who everyone in here knows, and he's like, "Are we going to see him at corner?" I mean, the teams think this guy could play corner.
Wow.
That's how athletic he is. So yeah, really an interesting prospect and a really cool backstory.
I love those kind of guys during Senior Bowl week that have some of that
potential,
positional versatility. And let's get to another guy that's got kind of a championship pedigree playing at Alabama, and Jared Maiden.
Yeah, what Jim is talking about is having a guy who has blue chip talent and a blue collar mentality. When I look at Maiden, I see a guy who has a blue collar mentality. Look, he's only been a starter for 1 year, but when you watch him play, he exhibits all those qualities that Nick Saban typically likes in his DBs: tough, fast, physical, smart. Had 4 interceptions. He is a guy that I think brings a lot of versatility in the back end, but I also believe he's going to be a special teams contributor. When we get to certain stages in the draft, you have to have guys that can do things in the third phase. I expect him to be a guy that can certainly contribute on the kicking game.
All right, excited to watch that. Excited to see some of the guys that these DBs will be covering. Shall we get to the wide receivers?
There we go.
This
is what I want to see
down
here.
in Mobile. Come on now. Oh man, we got a really good group here. You heard Christian Fulton mention Van Jefferson out of Florida as maybe the toughest receiver he saw all year. Excited to get Van down in Mobile, I'm sure.
Don't sleep on AGG from Liberty. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was going to say, you were telling me about all the acrobatic catches, right? You want to see a highlight reel?
He is big and athletic. He's fun to watch.
From Liberty, and then you saw Devon Duvernay and Colin Johnson, so you get a dynamic duo from Texas, and then we're going to have Stephen Sullivan as part of the tight end group, right, Jim?
Yeah, he's going to do a little bit of both.
Okay, there you go. And maybe the headliner, one of the headliners of the entire Senior Bowl roster is a Blitnikoff finalist and Michael Pittman Jr. from USC, who stands out among some pretty talented Trojan wideouts this year. And if you want a guy who will go up and compete for the ball, we talking about Michael Pittman here, DJ?
That Utah defense, we'll see all these players from Utah playing this game. We're going to talk to their head coach here, but Pittman just destroyed him, won the game by himself. They couldn't cover him, and it's 50-50 ball after 50-50 ball. And having a chance to do these Charger games, I watch Michael Pittman, and I see a lot of Mike Williams, who can just be a big play machine. Then when you get down in the red zone, he can box people out and just go up and get it. He played special teams as a young player, block punts. He's just a very tough, physical guy. And obviously with his dad, everybody remembers his dad, the running back,
from
who was a physical runner. This is a really fun player to study.
Oh, I'm excited about that. And is there a guy that you're kind of comparing him to?
Yeah, to me it was Mike Williams. I mean, that's who he reminds me of. And Mike was the top 10 pick for the Chargers coming out of Clemson. He has that type of physicality. And I think the way this draft shakes out, he probably comes into this Mobile week in the second round. But we've seen guys before go down to Mobile as second-round picks and leave as first-round picks.
Right. There you go. Or as virtual unknowns and end up like a Cooper Kupp as a third-round pick of the LA Rams. Let's get to Brian Edwards from South Carolina. Jay.
Yeah, DJ brought up the special teams with Pittman. This guy's a football player. I mean, he returns punts. He covers kicks. You look at South Carolina lineage at wide receiver. Sterling Sharp, Alshon Jeffrey, all these great players. This guy's the leading receiver in South Carolina history.
Wow.
I was at the Alabama game this fall, and sometimes you guys know this. You're watching a game live, and you just feel certain things about a player more, whether it's arm strength or speed. You felt this guy's physicality that day at Bryce Williams Stadium. I mean, he's aggressive.
He had a stiff arm on the sideline in that game.
He's aggressive. He's got this mentality, and he's a guy that makes plays at all three levels. I don't know how fast he's going to run, but he's a guy that's got a knack for getting deep. He'll be like that old school West Coast slant runner that can take a slant and go. He's just got a pro's game. This guy's got a pro's game. He's a pro. You talk to everyone in the building. He's a pro already in terms of preparation. There's already teams in the league. Deebo Samuel last year is having a great rookie year, and I've heard from teams already that they see Brian Edwards at or above where they had Deebo last year.
Yeah, Deebo's really come on for the 49ers here in the last few weeks for that squad. Hey, look, I mentioned Duvernay and Johnson from Texas, but a trio of Big 12 receivers with Denzel Mims joining the crew down in Mobile.
Yeah, I think the thing about the Big 12, the one thing that you know is the ball flies all over the yard. So you have plenty of opportunity to see guys make plays. Denzel Mims, to me, really stands out as a playmaker. 27 touchdowns the last 3 years. And when you watch Baylor and they need a play, he is a playmaker. And for a guy his size, 6'3", 215 pounds, he runs routes. He's very effective. He does a great job. And then the two Texas kids. Colin Johnson is a guy who had a lot of hype coming into the season. Didn't necessarily have the numbers that you want to see, but the size.
He's enormous.
Smooth, and for someone that is that tall, to see him get in and out of his breaks, the balance and the body control, plus having the ability to be a red zone weapon, that's fantastic. And then Duvernay is just a speedster. In high school, he was a 100-meter champion at the highest level, 6A, ran 10.27 in the 100 meters. That translates to about a
What'd you say?
10.27.
10.27.
10.27, winning it. It translates. And then this year we saw him have a lot of production. Over 100 yards, has over 100 catches, 1,000 yards. He's a big-time playmaker in the slot. Reminds me a lot of Golden Tate. Not refined as a route runner, but if he figures it out, he's going to be a playmaker at the next level.
Just back to the speed real quick. Last year's class, Andy Isabella from UMass, had a great Senior Bowl week, went in the second round of the Cardinals. He was a 10.51 out of high school and ran 4.31 at the Combine. What is 10.2 going to equate to?
Great question, because that's all we talked about for Isabella was the speed, right? That'll be fun to watch with those guys. All right, we can't leave the returners out of this as well. I mean, like Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State. I mean, we talk about one of the best returners in football.
To me, he's one of the best receivers. I think he's a first-round player as he's going through this process. Run after catch. A lot of times you'll see that, Bucky, you always talk about that with Ted Thompson. He used to always covet returners. Jim, you know that as well. This kid, what he does as a returner, you see after the catch as well, making people miss. He is a run after the catch guy. You just get the ball in his hands. He can play inside. He can play outside. We've talked about toughness, which I think is one of those qualities. When you go back and look through all these receivers that hit, they all have that in common. It's hard to play in today's NFL if you're not tough. This kid's tough. He's elusive, and he can return.
Oh, that's awesome. And again, we will see him and everybody starting Senior Bowl week game, obviously January 28th, and then we will January 25th. 25th. There you go. January 25th, and Senior Bowl week starts that Monday of the week. So excited to that for that. And then if you enjoyed the Kyle Duggar Senior Bowl acceptance video, we've got a few more that I think you're going to enjoy right here. Flo, if you're I can't.
Hey, congratulations for being invited to the Senior Bowl.
If they haven't told you, then you're getting invited. But no, honestly, when you talk about everything that you've done on the field, all the tackles you've made, the career that you've put together, it's only rightfully so that you get an invite to the Senior Bowl.
Getting invited to the Senior Bowl, I mean, it's a huge opportunity for me to prove myself and for me to really show up for my family and for Cal and just be able to really go against the best players in the nation. I'd like to thank my teammates, my coaches, Coach Sherman, Coach Wilcox, my family, my high school coaches, and for everybody who's believed in me. And go Bears.
Arguably the most prestigious all-star game out there. And it is one that is no surprise to me to see these three guys representing the University of Texas in the Reese's Senior Bowl. Will be Captain Colin Johnson, Captain Devon Weaver, and Captain Brandon Jones.
I was really honored to receive the invitation for the Reese's Senior Bowl. It's something that I've watched a lot growing up, and I know that it's something that really tests a lot of the people being able to play with the best of the best.
Being invited to the Reese's Senior Bowl was a huge honor for me. I can't wait to go out there and compete with the best of the best around the nation, represent the University of Texas. So, accepting that invite just means the world to me because I get a chance to go out there and just display my talent and display all my hard work.
It meant a lot to be invited to the Senior Bowl. Just all the hard work I put in from freshman year to now, just seeing it pay off with a personal accomplishment, like being invited to the Senior Bowl, just watching it in the past and thinking, man, hopefully one day I can be in that if I, just take care of business. And hearing my name called from Coach Herman definitely was an exciting moment.
Senior Bowl. I said, certainly I'm an older guy.
Yeah.
They could call me a senior, but I don't think that this is for.
Yeah.
I don't think this is for me. I think it's for you. In fact, it's got your name on it eventually. So, congratulations.
Hakeem, congrats on the great college career at Kansas. Be ready to move inside during practice week if the participating coaching staff asks you to. Look forward to seeing you in January. Signed by Jim Nagy. Official invite. This moment is so crazy because it's kind of like everything I've worked for, my whole life. And to get invited to this is one of the biggest, NFL scouting grounds, and it's like the premier all-star game. So it's crazy, like, to even just think about, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity.
Big reveal day here on NFL Network. We'll continue tonight with our Total Access Pro Bowl players reveal. That's tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on NFL Network. I'll be back to join you for that as well. But now we get back to the
hardest working man in show business
roster reveal here at a special edition of the Move the Sticks podcast. A few of our tight ends that are going to be heading down to Mobile for the Reese's Senior Bowl. How about Harrison Bryant here? 9 catches, over 160 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 2 games on NFL Network this year as part of our Conference USA package. So he knows how to play on national TV, so we get to see him again on NFL Network during Senior Bowl week. Of course, we've got Adam Troutman will be there from Dayton as well. And Jim, some of those tight ends that you've got listed, you're going to ask to play fullback, right?
Right. Instead of forcing a couple undrafted free agents into those fullback spots, we determined there weren't any draftable true fullbacks in this year's class, similar to last year when Trayvon Wesco from West Virginia came and played fullback. Yeah, and he won the 4th round. He's the Jet starter right now. We're going to do that with Duggar from Cincinnati and Charlie from Portland State. I don't want to butcher Charlie's last name. I got to get him to Mobile, but Charlie's going to do some of that too.
We're going to be working on that.
Yeah, Charlie or Chuck. That's it. That's as far as we're going.
We love you, Charlie.
We're excited to get you.
But let's get back to Harrison Bryant, who, by the way, is the Mackey Award winner for the top tight end in college football this year from Florida Atlantic, getting the call to Mobile here, Buck.
Well deserved. This is a really good player when you watch him on tape, and he's kind of one of those new school tight ends that everybody wants in their offense, a guy that can split out, play in the slot. He's a mismatch on the outside, runs routes, shows excellent body control. I love his run after catch, and if I'm a team that's looking for a flex tight end, someone that can do some of the things that we've seen Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, I'm not putting him in that category.
Okay.
But this is a dynamic player. This is somebody that we could be talking about in day 2 as a possibility if he goes and shows up well and plays well in Mobile.
DJ, how about Bryson Hopkins from Purdue?
Well, because Rhett's an Indiana guy and this is a Purdue player, I want to maintain our friendship. So I'm going to let you talk.
Oh, isn't that nice? Thank you.
Well, Hopkins, the funny thing about Hopkins, first got on my radar last year in the Atlanta airport. I'm in there right before the draft, and I see David Blau, his former quarterback, now with the Lions. And he comes up to me and introduces himself, and we start talking. I said, well, who do we get for the Senior Bowl next year? He's like, my tight end. He's like, tight end's he's going to jump 39 inches. He's giving me a little scouting report. So thank you, David Blau. Lau for
good scouting.
Putting him on the radar. But no, really athletic pass catcher, similar to what Bucky was saying about Harrison Bryant. Really good guy in the pass game, mismatch guy with his athleticism.
Okay, how about
he had no follow-up on the Purdue guy.
Well, look, to be honest, as much as it pains me, he played really well against Indiana this year in the bucket game, but they fell just short. So, all right. So, tell us about Adam Troutman from Dayton.
Yeah, Adam's one of the small school guys we're really excited about, along with Kyle Duggar, who we've already profiled. Adam's a guy, I think, again, day 2, maybe. Yeah. He's really an athletic pass catcher, similar, man amongst boys quality with some of these small school guys. You don't have to go looking for him on the tape. So we had a scout go through Dayton earlier this year. He had 4 touchdown catches in the first half. The scout texts me. He's like, he just scored his 4th touchdown. I'm on the road to Ohio State. He was double dipping that day. He's like, I've seen enough.
Yeah, he's good.
Kyle's a crisp route runner, really athletic, can go up and make great plays on the ball. And in the run game, he will put his face on you and try to block you. So just ramp it up, see what it looks like in Mobile, against a higher quality opponent.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so those are some of the tight ends. Let's kind of stay up there up front on the offensive side, get to our offensive linemen. And we'll start there with Ben Bredesen from Michigan. Could end up protecting the quarterback. He's sheltered at Michigan the last 2 years with Shay Patterson heading down to Mobile as well. And then you look at Washington's Nick Harris and Trey Adams. So we got a couple of Huskies there hoping to follow in the footsteps of maybe Caleb McGarry.
Yeah.
Ended up heading to the Atlanta Falcons as a first-round pick. There you go. A few of the other offensive linemen that are heading down to Mobile. Logan Stenberg, I know a guy you're excited about from Kentucky. Jim. So let's just a thought here on this group that you put together here.
It's a really good group. Last year's group was really unique in the sense that 9 of the 10 guys from the North squad went in the first 3 rounds. I mean, that was a historically good draft class. And then you had 5 in the first round. So these guys are a little more developmental. They're guys that might not come in right away and start like to the level last year's class did, but a bunch of really good players. Ben Barch, Division III, so we brought that up from St. John's. We started getting calls on Ben in September, and the thing you loved about him is that every game he got better, and he's got all the measurables. He's 6'5.5", and he's in the spring he was 280. Now he's 305. So Ali Marpet a few years ago, I know you guys remember from Hobart. Now he just signed a huge second contract with the Bucks.
That's great.
I think Barch could have a big week.
The interesting thing is you talk to teams around the league and you start formulating needs during this time of year. Offensive line comes up in every single discussion. So they're all looking for these guys, and that's why I think this group has as much opportunity in front of them maybe as any other position in the entire Senior Bowl.
Especially when you look at who they'll be facing. This defensive line class is pretty solid, so get a chance to watch these guys compete, not only in one-on-ones, but in some of the team drills. You'll get a chance to see which of those developmental guys can pop at the next level.
Oh, that's awesome. Excited about that as well. And again, I think it's really cool. One of the things that we've seen since Jim has been with the Senior Bowl is some of the guys that you're looking at. When you guys go out to the games, we see the videos you put out on Twitter, and we really enjoyed with the Senior Bowl watch list this year, and kind of following these guys throughout the year has been really cool. So this has been a neat process to follow as well. And as we continue here on the Senior Bowl reveal show, we'll take you back to some of our favorite memories from down in Mobile.
I went to the Senior Bowl because I felt like, it would benefit you the most to go out there with some of the best in college football and compete, and show these scouts what you can do, against the best of the best.
I remember a guy named Tommy Kelly. Tommy Kelly was a DN coming out of Mississippi State, I believe, and he played in the league for, I think he was on 13th year or 12 years. But he was a big tackle that they put at DN, and I was going against him like every single play. And I was giving it to him as much as I could because I had to prove to those scouts that I was tough enough to block.
The thing I remember about the Senior Bowl game was the competition, the attitude, the focus went into that game. It was always competitive, fired up, and just ready to get going.
Senior Bowl week, it was a great opportunity to, show your competitiveness. You're around a bunch of guys that want to compete. You're around a bunch of guys that want to get better, want to get to the next level. Everybody there's hungry, so it's just like an awesome place to be. Where when you want to showcase your skills, you want to show what you're about, and you want to compete against really the best.
What I remember most about being in Mobile for Senior Bowl week was, just the experience overall. It was a great experience. Meeting other players in my caliber and just getting to talk to various coaches. It was a hectic week, but it was fun overall.
The guys that they had there, we had a good DB room. I met some of the guys. I still know them to the day from that from that room, and it's pretty cool to see. You know, they go out there and do good stuff. Harrison Smith over there with the Vikings, he's still my buddy. I met him there, so that was a good connection there. And a couple more other people, you know, I met there that I also went off and trained with as well. So that was all a good experience for me in that time. But like I said, I was the black sheep, so I came in late. And then I got in the game. I wanted to make some noise. I kind of did a little bit before they pulled me out.
Now the edge rushers that are heading to Mobile. We've got a talented SEC crew among this group. 5 SEC players on the edge rusher list, including Jonathan Granado, Florida, grad transfer from Louisville, made an impact for the Gators this year. And a big reveal here today. For the first time, Jim Nagy, you are announcing a big get with Terrell Lewis from Alabama heading to Mobile.
Yeah, we've been really excited about this one, guys. Kind of holding off to see who's going to graduate. So we walked on Saturday so we can announce this thing. We're excited. He's really a guy, I mean, top 10 talent when you put on, especially when you put on certain tapes. You know, as scouts, you always want to make that player comparison. To me, he was a hard guy to make a comp to because he's so long and spidery.
He is beautiful, man.
But then he's got such heavy hands. I'm trying to go back in the guys I've done over the last, however many years it's been.
Yeah.
And he's just a hard guy because he's got such unique tools.
Yeah, he's explosive.
Really
right. Well, I don't know how it happened, but we talked about an Alabama guy before, an Auburn guy this year, and after the Iron Bowl, that just shouldn't happen. But it is our pleasure now to welcome in Auburn edge rusher Marlon Davidson is here with us. What's up, Marlon? How are you, man?
Everything's good over this way. Everything's good.
Yeah, I bet it is. After the season you guys had up front for the Tigers this year, man, there's some real talent with you and Derek Brown up there leading the way for that group this year. I understand there was a pretty good competition going on between you guys this year. So, guys, there are 14 possible SEC Defensive Player of the Week awards. Marlon and Derek Brown combined for half of them. They won 7 of them, and Marlon, you got the edge over Derek with 4, right? That was a big competition, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, we came up with that after the first 2 that I won. He always just try to compare back and forth with me, talking about some I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna beat you, this and that. Then he came back with 2, and I was like, dang, I gotta step my game up.
That's right.
He started coming back and forth. So.
Hey, Marlon, Jim Nagy, I just want to say, first of all, thanks for coming to the Senior Bowl. We're excited to get you down to Mobile. There's a ton of Auburn fans, big Auburn city, so we're excited to get you down. But a guy you're going to be going up against, everyone looks forward to one-on-ones at Senior Bowl week. You got a teammate in the game, Prince Tega Winogo, so I know you guys go against each other all the time. Just give us your scouting report on what it's like going against Prince Tega.
I mean, Prince Tega, he's a different guy. I mean, his season didn't reflect on how he really is. But, I mean, he is very athletic and he is very powerful. And I mean, like, it's scary when you go against him at practice. You're like, man, you got to play your best at every point of the time. And he's like, I don't know, man. He's a different athlete, man. He's incredible.
Marlon, Red spoke about the competition that you had with Derek Brown. Going into a big event like this where you have so many guys that are highly touted, what are some of the things that are you trying to prove to separate yourself from the rest of the competition at the edge rusher?
I'm just trying to show them that I can rush the passer, I can play the run, and I'm very smart. And I know what teams doing before they can even do them. I mean, like, man, my mind to the game is just totally different than everybody else. I just want to show people that, I'm very athletic and I can rush off the edge. And I can do it from the inside. Wherever you want me to play, I can do it.
Well, just building off that, do you remember an example of when you felt like a play was coming and it actually happened this season that kind of highlighted any of that for you that you remember?
The play against Florida, like, I knew that they was going to pass the ball. Like, I really knew, and I was like,
love it.
Oh, I'm finna go get him. And that was a changing of the game when Derek scooped the ball and he fell.
That's right.
I was like, dang.
That's cool.
We just saw that board, a list of 5 SEC defensive linemen and edge rushers coming into this Senior Bowl game. When you look at guys around the conference, are you and Derek, you guys paying attention to what else is happening in the conference? Or are you guys just worried about yourselves?
Yeah, we are, and I mean, like, we're competing against each other, but we also competing against other guys. And you never want nobody else to be better than you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like you try to take the front towards that and just show people like I am the best, and like you would not be wrong with picking me in this draft. And that's what we do every day, and we compete against each other, but we also compete against others.
Marlon, I'm going to ask you a question that all scouts typically ask. Is there anybody that's playing in the National Football League right now that you pattern your game after?
Right now, not at all. I'm actually trying to just, compare my game to Cameron Jordan. Man, he is like dog. He is a dog. You know what I mean? I watch him every step he take in the game, every play. I just watch it. Like anytime I have downtime on Sunday, I'll watch it. Then I'll go back and see the highlights of it just to watch him. And he's like that.
Well, you're following in his footsteps, Marlon. He had a huge Senior Bowl week. That was like about 10 years ago. He balled out in Mobile. You talked about rushing the passer from the edge and the inside. Is there one alignment where you feel like you're more comfortable?
Shoot, it don't matter, man.
Okay.
Well, I can go make the money yet. Let's
go. I'm going. I do have one more question for you because I was just curious. Did you ever check up on that lady that fell in the hedges? Is she okay after the Iron Bowl got stuck in the hedges? I just want to make sure she's all right. You check up on her?
Nah, I didn't. Man. I didn't know who it was. It was crazy. I was like, something always happened like that in Auburn.
Did you get out of there with all your gear, your helmet, and everything? Everything was all accounted for after all that mayhem after that?
Yeah, like our equipment guy came and like snatched our helmets away from us and took off with it.
That's right.
He was like, "I'm not losing."
That's a good equipment guy.
That is a smart equipment manager. Well, Marlon, man, we really enjoyed talking with you today. We're really looking forward to seeing you down in Mobile for Senior Bowl week. Good luck in your bowl game, my man.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Well, so we mentioned all the great talent out on the edge, man. I mean, there's some real studs on the interior as well, Jim. Perhaps some of the greatest concentration here of high-level talent on this roster overall. We've got Raekwon Davis, who's kind of the elder statesman on a youthful Alabama D-line this year. Javon Kinlaw, a lot of buzz this year on his interior disruption for the Gamecocks. And then Leki Fotu. Is it as strong a player as maybe there is strength-wise on this entire roster in Fotu? That's pretty cool. But let's talk about Raekwon Davis, who had probably his best statistical season like 2 years ago, right, in 2017. So what do you expect to see from him in Mobile?
Well, I think we can always debate what's DBU, Ohio State or LSU. Yeah. D-line U has been Alabama over the last 10 years, and Raekwon's kind of the next guy in line. I hear it a lot locally being in Mobile, Alabama. People question, did Raekwon have a great year? Because, like you said, the numbers have been down a little bit. But what Raekwon does doesn't show up on paper. Yeah. He recreates the line of scrimmage. He occupies double teams. He lets those backers run. He's big. He's explosive. The last couple of years they've had Daron Payne and they've had Quinnen Williams. Those guys are a little different body types. This think more Ashawn Robinson with this guy. Yes. This guy's tall. He's a mountain of a man. So big, powerful dude. I think he's going to be a first-round player. I think he's really talented. I've loved him for 3 years, so we're excited to get him.
I was at their pro day last year at Alabama. I think I might even have seen you there. But there was somebody walking around, this giant human being with a Jackie Robinson jersey, and I went over to somebody at Alabama. I said, "Who's Jackie Robinson?" And they go, "Oh yeah, that's him.
That's Raekwon Davis."
Raekwon Davis. I want Jackie Robinson. That's who I want.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Kinlaw a little bit, who's really been kind of making a name for himself this year for the Gamecocks. What have you seen from him, DJ?
Big, powerful man. And you talk about recreating the line of scrimmage. That's what Kinlaw does every single time you pop on the tape. Ironically, App State, my alma mater, is probably the worst game he played all year. When they played against the big-time opponents in the SEC, he was a dominant player. He's long. You see him right here just going right through Alabama. He was very disruptive in that football game, played great against Georgia as well. He's an easy scout for me. He's a top 20 pick. That's where he starts this process, and we'll see how high he can climb up.
Bucky, let's talk again about an Oklahoma guy up front in Neville Gallimore. What did you see from him?
He's a plugger with pass rush ability, meaning that he is a guy that can play in a short area, does a good job against the run, but also flashes some quickness, some arm over skills to be able to get to the quarterback. And it's hard to find interior guys who are able to do both. And he has unique ability to be able to do that. And so in the Senior Bowl, when we talk about these developmental offensive linemen, he may show up and look better as a pass rusher than most people envision, even though he's coming off a season where he had 4 sacks.
He's going to test like a freak, is what I've been told by a bunch of folks, so keep an eye on him.
Loving the big guys test off the charts. How's the rest of the D-line group shaping up here? Is this a kind of a full group at this point?
Yeah, we're pretty full. Derek Brown from Auburn we were waiting on, but Derek's going to play in his bowl game and shut it down, which he's a great player. He's had a great year next to Marlon Davidson. So, yeah, we're full. It's a really good group.
Great.
A lot of different skill sets, and back to Neville Gallimore, Canadian guy.
Yes.
So and Chase Claypool for Notre Dame, the receiver on there, is a Canadian guy. So we got 2 Canadians.
By the way, real quick, your Twitter handle is what?
Jim Nagy _SB.
Okay, so Ohio State fans that want to have a debate with that whole D-line
thing.
I just want to make sure that they got your Twitter handle.
Can't they debate every position group, though?
Yeah.
They really
both those schools can debate every single position.
No question. Again, the Reese's Senior Bowl, January 25th down in Mobile. The week starts really the 20th on Monday, and then we get going with the practices on Tuesday, all which you can see right here on NFL Network. And so, look, have you loved finding out how guys get into the Senior Bowl? That has been so cool, Jim. I hope you continue that, and we want to look back again on some of our favorite Senior Bowl memories.
Are there any questions about what the expectation level is for this week's performance? It don't matter the opponent, okay? Now, with that being said, we got a special message from one of our former alumni. They wanted to share something with us real quick, so.
What's up, fellas? Daniel Jeremiah here from NFL Network, proud App State Mountaineer. And look, I want to tell you guys how proud I am of the way you guys have been playing this year. Wins over the SEC, wins over the ACC. Got a chance to take care of business in the Sun Belt as well. Couldn't be more fired up for you. And especially fired up for Akeem. Akeem, you've been balling this year, man. I'm looking forward to taking you out to lunch and telling you how much I appreciate the way you played. And I know a lot of good spots in Mobile, Alabama, because that's where you're going to be, buddy. You're going to the Reese's Senior Bowl, where you belong, playing with the best players in the country. Congratulations, man. Can't wait to see you there.
Hey, Ashton Davis. Congratulations for getting invited to the Senior Bowl. But not only that, congratulations for representing Cal the right way. When you talk about everybody who came before you and everybody who will come after you, you're one of those guys that they're going to look at and say, hey, he had a stellar career at Cal. Hey, he went to the Senior Bowl. And that just sets that next step up for you.
I didn't know what the Senior Bowl was until this year, and obviously it's a tremendous honor. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously we still got 4 more games to play, hopefully 5, but it's definitely something that I'm very excited about and honored to be invited to. I'd like to thank my teammates, coaches, and my family. The new coaching staff really changed my life, along with my teammates, and my parents for allowing me to pursue this opportunity in football. Go Bears.
What's going on, boys? Just want to holler at you guys real quick. I know you guys are focused on going 1-0 this week against Florida, but I wanted to really encourage the seniors to get after and make these opportunities count. But for a couple seniors, I have a special news for you guys I wanted to reveal a little bit. So I talked to the executive director at the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, and he wanted me guys to extend an invitation to a couple guys. So Kalijah Lipscomb, Jared Pinkney, and Keyshawn Vaughn, you 3 are going to the Senior Bowl. I know you guys are going to represent down there when you get to Mobile, show them how the Commodores do, and anchor down.
All right, well, check it out here. Really fun. We actually had 6 Utah Utes accept an invitation to the Senior Bowl. Unfortunately, Julian Blackman will not play Senior Bowl week due to an injury suffered in the Pac-12 championship game. But what a year for the Utah Utes, and it's our pleasure now to welcome in the 3rd longest tenured head coach at the same school in FBS, the 2nd best bowl winning percentage in NCAA history at 84%, preparing his Utes for an Alamo Bowl appearance against Texas. Kyle Whittingham is here with us, head coach of the Utah Utes. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
You bet. Appreciate you having me on.
So you had 6 guys get invitations here to the Senior Bowl. 5 guys will end up playing Senior Bowl week. What does it mean for your program to be that well represented at this prestigious All-Star game?
Well, that's great. And, typically, if you get invited to the Senior Bowl, it means you've got a great chance of getting drafted. So that goes hand in hand with that. We've got a special group of seniors. They've really done so much for this program, and I could see this year coming a couple years back. As you project your rosters forward, we thought that this season could be pretty special because of this senior group, and that's proved to be the case.
Coach, one of your special players has been your running back, Zach Moss. What makes him such a talented and vital contributor to your program?
Well, he's the whole package. He's got size. He's 220 pounds. He's got quickness, strength. He's got the great vision. He's able to run outside. He's got great speed to get around the edge, picks up blitzes, catches the ball out of the backfield. You name it, he does it. He's a complete back. 3 straight 1,000-yard plus seasons. He's broken virtually every rushing record here at Utah, and he's in line to break a couple more in the bowl game if he has the type of game we hope he does.
Coach, talk about Leki Fotu a little bit. You put the guy on tape, really unusual tools. He's such a big man. He's nimble. He makes plays down the line of scrimmage. What did you guys see when you were recruiting him out of high school? I'm just curious what that looked like, on a high school football field.
Yeah, he was pretty impressive, but very raw. He had actually been a tremendous rugby player. He's got a lot of ability on the rugby field. But when we recruited him, he's only about 265, 270 pounds. And we knew that he was going to get a lot bigger and projected him to be a defensive tackle. And he's done exactly that. He's about 340 pounds now, 335, and light on his feet. Like you said, no 340-pound man should move like he moves. It's incredible. And his ceiling is way up there. He hasn't even begun to scratch the surface. He did not have a lot of football experience in high school. It was more rugby than football.
Yeah, he is a freak, Coach. You continue to pump out guys along the line of scrimmage, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Bradley Nye is fun for me to watch just because of how good he is with his hands. When you got him from where he started to where he is now, what have you seen the most improvement from him?
Well, his high school tape was very good. It really excited us, his motor, how he had natural use of hands, great get-off, played with separation, but he was only about 215 pounds, but had the frame. I had played college ball with his dad. Me and his dad were teammates in college, and his dad was a tremendous player and about 270, so we knew Bradley was going to get a lot bigger. And right when he got on campus, he was exactly what we hoped he would be and just kept getting better from there. And he now is about 260 pounds, 255, has the sack record here at Utah, and has been just a tremendous player for us.
Coach, any scout that has been through Utah understands that you guys have some of the toughest, most physical defensive backs in the country. You got another one coming up in Terrell Burgess. Talk to him a little bit about him.
Yeah, Terrell, great teammate, completely unselfish kid. Wasn't a full-time starter till this year. He's been a phenom on special teams for the first 3 years. He got spot playing time, in the secondary his sophomore and junior year, and transitioned into a starter this year, and has absolutely made the most of that opportunity. He's been rock solid for us all season long. So consistent, so intelligent, and he's a playmaker. He seems to always be around the football.
Coach, you talk about the leap that Burgess made as a part-time player last year. Yet another one, Francis Bernard, last year playing behind Chase Hansen and Cody Barton. To me, looking at this guy over summer, he really wasn't on our radar for the game. He was, to me, one of the most improved players in the country. Can you explain what you attribute that jump to for Francis Bernard this year?
Well, first of all, he was a very good player last year for us. He just happened, as you mentioned, to be behind Chase and Cody, who are both in the NFL. Cody is with the Seahawks, and Chase is getting himself rehabbed to be with the Saints. He's with the Saints now, and they gave him the year dedicated to getting himself back to good health. But sitting behind those guys was something that he hadn't really no opportunity because those guys were so productive and so good. But we knew that we had a guy in Francis waiting in the wings. When he did get his opportunity, was going to be a heck of a player, and he has been as productive as he could have possibly been this year. Team leader. He's only been with us those 2 years. He was a transfer, and so he wasn't with us other than his junior and senior year. And what a great kid. I mean, we're elated that he's in our program.
Coach, one more. I know Julian Blackman is hurt, but when you evaluate him as a player, you go back, remember watching Marcus Williams coming through that program. How would you compare those two guys as players?
Very similar. Julian has corner experience. He was a corner the first 3 years for us. And we felt, after his junior year that his highest ceiling and his longevity was going to be at the safety spot. If he wanted to play at the next level, that was going to be his best opportunity. He transitioned to that position seamlessly. He's got terrific ball skills. He's just a great athlete, great basketball player. Could probably be a wide receiver if that's where you wanted to put him. But we felt that ultimately his best spot was going to be safety. Great instincts, great angles to the football, and a great tackler. He's a deadly tackler. He'll come to balance and wrap up and misses very few tackles.
Coach, is a 2008 winner of the Bear Bryant Award. What does it mean to you to be nominated once again this year for your accomplishments with this team?
Well, it's a great honor, but really, to me, Coach of the Year awards are more Team of the Year awards, and you don't get those Coach of the Year nominations or awards without having great players and a great team, and so that's really a credit and a tribute to our football team.
And Coach, obviously, you've established a great winning culture there at Utah from what you do, and now for your guys that are going down to Mobile, what kind of opportunity is this, and how do you feel like they will represent themselves in their first opportunity, getting to kind of be immersed in some NFL coaching, as we'll have the NFL coaching staffs on hand here to run the show at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, historically, our guys do very well down there. We have a very structured, disciplined program here, great work ethic in this program, accountability, and that translates real well to the next level. And we hear a lot of good reports about our guys when they get to the next level as far as their practice habits, their film study, and that type of thing. And so traditionally they will represent us the right way, and I don't believe this group will be any different.
Coach, last thing before you go, how much snow is on the ground there right now? How is it ski season? Are we ready to roll?
It is absolutely ski season. I'll be up there tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Saturday. And we don't have any in the valley here, but up at the resort, we got about 80 inches, which is very skiable.
How about it?
There we go.
Yeah, look at that. Fitting in a little ski time as you get ready for the Alamo Bowl against Texas. Coach, we wish you all the best. Thanks so much for taking some time to join us here today.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you, guys.
Okay, and so I mentioned the NFL coaching staffs, obviously, that will run the North and South squads for you at the Senior Bowl. And then one of the great things about it, Senior Bowl week on NFL Network, is we get to have some of those coaches mic'd up during the week. Right. I mean, I know you guys love that up in the booth,
Fantastic.
Right? So excited to see that, and obviously you'll let us know as soon as you know which staffs we're going to see down there. Man, it's going to be some fun.
Can I just say one thing real quick? Kyle Whittingham was my pick. If you took every NCAA coach and you put him in a battle royale, Kyle Whittingham wins that thing. And it's not even close.
I mean, you better believe it.
Not even close.
I might take Ed O.
Okay, you took my pick because I was thinking Ed O. Ed O may get him on the
another
ground.
show. That's another show.
Little Cajun talk. That's a good show. Are we going to have a Royal Rumble here? Is this what's going to happen?
I go Whittingham. I go Whittingham.
Look, ground and pound from Eddie O. I don't know.
All right. All right. Sorry, so no, it's all good.
So I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, I hear it.
Stud.
So let's hear from some of those coaches that we've had mic'd up over the past.
Now, with that nose shading this direction, with that nose shade here, you want to read it. Okay, you read the first down lineman inside out. I got you. First down lineman inside out. Inside zone. First. There we go. So go. Come on. Go again. What foot we leading with? Oh, no, we ain't leading with that one. We ain't got that foot. The right foot lead. Right foot every time. Right foot every time. Go again. There we go. Right foot lead. Right foot lead. So go. Here we go. Let's go. Good. There you go. All right, now go move back.
Bang play now, reverse 6. Let's go snug left past 99 blister, X strike. Snug left past 99 blister.
Snug left past 99 blister, X strike. On 1-on-1. Ready?
Hop in and Drew. Number 10.
Angle on your track. You believe what's on your track. He go outside, you go inside. He go inside, you go outside. He sit down, he got to go for the ride. Don't do nothing else but that. You have a long career.
So you guys are going to have double right, 2 scat Aggie. Double right, 2 scat Aggie on deck.
The double right.
Guys, right here, we got north, left, clamp, 2 scat, YCO bow.
Scout.
Hey, so if he's inside the numbers, we know that the comeback turns into what?
Yeah, okay, whatever.
A corner. Yep.
Isn't that great? I mean, you get the inside view, Jim, what the coaches are teaching the players.
It's great stuff, and you guys know from a scouting perspective or assistant coaches that are at the game, you're really tuned into how the players respond to taking that coaching. It's entertaining to listen to the coaches do their thing, but you're really zeroed in on, okay, when this kid gets chewed out, what does the next rep look like?
Right?
Can he get? And that's really where Daniel Jones to me was impressive, because the first day he was not good right out of the gate, and John Gruden was on him all week, and he just got better and better, and he didn't let it affect him. So all those little things that are happening on the field, the NFL takes notice of all that stuff.
It's great, and all those guys that played for John Gruden certainly had plenty of opportunities to display that kind of bounce back mentality.
And they have 8 Senior Bowlers from last year's Senior Bowl on the Raiders this year.
Almost all of them playing really well.
That's true. Raiders and 49ers as your coaching staffs last year. Okay, let's get to the linebackers that we're going to see down at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. Excited to watch Zach Bond from Wisconsin. Here's another one of your App State guys,
there we
DJ. With Akeem Davis-Gaither. We've got Malik Harrison coming from Ohio State, Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech as well. Jim, what jumps out to you about this group?
Really versatile group. Yeah. A lot of different skill sets in this group. You're looking at that group right there. Zach Bond, really impressive player. Just got that commitment right after the Big Ten championship game.
Great.
So really excited about that. Just the versatility. And a lot of guys were really
gotta have it these days at that group.
And
right?
we're really emphasizing guys that can run and play on third down and play on fourth down. I mean, gone are the days where you're just a 2-down linebacker anymore.
Speed was the one thing that jumped out at that list to me.
And Kamal Martin was such a player this year for Minnesota. Big reason why they had the success they did. But let's talk a little bit more about Zach Bond. DJ, what did you see from him on tape?
Well, as an edge rusher, he can get home and win in a lot of different ways. You talk about somebody who's not the biggest guy in the world. That's going to be interesting to see what he weighs at the weigh-ins. But somebody plays around that 240 mark, and you can win with speed off the edge. He's got a nice little inside spin move. The first game I watched was Ohio State in the conference championship game. Had a sack, just ran over the back in that game. Was a very good football player for a sack there. They used him a little bit dropping in coverage to show off some of that athleticism. So this will be a big week for him. One-on-ones, tackles, I don't think are going to enjoy their time there with Mr. Bond.
That's awesome. Bucky, let's get to another linebacker here in Troy Dye.
Troy Dye is a Swiss Army knife. He's a guy that can really check the boxes in a lot of different areas. He can play your conventional inside linebacker. He can come off the edge and blitz. He's productive and disruptive. Does a great job of doing everything. And it goes back to a conversation that we had at Pac-12 Media Day with Mario Cristobal. He talked about the one defender that he believes can have an outstanding career in the pros. He talked about Troy Dye because of his versatility, his work ethic, and his ability to really step up and play well on a big stage. I expect him to step up.
How ridiculous is that number, by the way? 382 tackles.
Just don't get a lot of those. I mean, you don't see guys who are that productive.
And 13 sacks from the.
This is a throw-in.
Just the old 13. Let's talk. We talked about Ashton Davis as one of the best players in that Cal secondary. On their second level, we're talking about a guy in Evan Weaver. I mean, what did you see from him?
Yeah, we do a Senior Bowl Senior of the Week award. We almost could have given it to Evan Weaver almost every week, I think. I think he had 3 games over 20 tackles, led the country in tackles this year. Talked about Francis Bernard with Coach Whittingham being one of the most improved players in the country. Evan Weaver is too. I don't know how much weight Evan lost, but he dropped a bunch of weight in the offseason, and it showed up on tape. This kid's instincts are off the charts. His game against Washington was as good a linebacker tape as I've seen in a lot of years. He flies around the ball. He's relentless. And because of the lost weight and the added mobility, he can play on third down now. He's really instinctive in zone. So, that Cal defense was fun to watch, and he was the centerpiece of it.
He's got to switch up his number for the All-Star game, though. You can't let him.
I think he came in 89.
Is he really?
He called all the players. Wow. We got to get all the numbers to Nike, and I think he stuck with 89.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
I like that.
That's great. Are there any other linebackers that you're targeting for the game, or is the roster set at that position?
We're targeting a couple juniors, and one I can't talk about right now because Clemson was nice enough to have me up on campus and recruit him a little bit. Was Isaiah Simmons, the do-it-all linebacker from Clemson. We're talking about hybrid defenders and how that's kind of the in vogue thing right now, guys that can cover and do a lot of things. You put on the Clemson tape, he's all over the place. He's hard. He's really a hard guy to scout because he's lining up in a different alignment all the time. But, I think that we're still going after him. Our week would be big for him so teams can figure him out because he can do so many things. It's almost like his greatest strength works against him. I know when I was with the Seahawks a couple years ago, we did that with Derwin James. Mm-hmm. The DB coach saw him as one thing. The linebackers coach saw him as something else. So a week in Mobile, I really think the league could figure out Isaiah. They know he's a great player, but now how do we use him?
Talk about a super athlete. track background plays a big part of his success as a high school player. Is one of the things that we'll see probably on display if he shows up in Mobile.
I'm excited to watch those linebackers compete down in Mobile against Senior Bowl January 25th. We can't get out of this show without getting to the specialists, right? Let's show you the specialist kickers and punters and long snappers that will be heading to the Senior Bowl. We'll get Tyler Bass from Georgia Southern, and Rodrigo Blankenship. It's a nice get to get the Georgia kicker down to Mobile. But let's not leave out our long snappers, Blake Ferguson and Stephen Wortell. I mean, Dan Gotzel from Indiana was the star of the week down in Mobile last year as a long snapper. Look, those are the long snappers. Let's not leave them out, right? Those are important positions that teams need to get a look at, right?
Yeah, I gotta love those guys.
Yeah, man.
I'll tell you what, the following on Twitter from the long snapping community is amazing. If we post anything about a long snapper, it's fire.
I'm often asked if I miss anything from scouting. I've never said scouting long snappers.
Oh, see, that's true.
I've never shared that.
You know what? Let's get some final thoughts here as we wrap up the show here. DJ, any final thoughts as we get set for Senior Bowl week?
I cannot wait. I love the group that you've assembled here, Jim, and the wide receiver DB one-on-ones are going to be fantastic, and O-line, D-line one-on-ones are going to be great. It's going to be a great week.
We heard from Will Hernandez talking about what it meant to him to play in the Senior Bowl. That was must-see TV when he was
so nasty.
Playing. Yeah,
nasty.
That was awesome. So final thought from you, Buck.
About the running backs, I want to see the running backs. We talk about the way the game has changed where running backs have to do more than just run it. They got to be able to catch it and also pass protect. The Senior Bowl provides an opportunity to see those guys in pass protection.
And Jim, what's your anxiety level getting ready here? I mean, we're about 30 days away from kicking off the week down in Mobile. Tell us what's going on here in the meantime.
Yeah, the anxiety level is getting through these bowl games with my fingers crossed.
Nobody get hurt.
That we have no injuries. Nobody get hurt. But no, I want to thank everyone here for having me on Move the Sticks. It's a great forum for us to unveil this thing. It's a step forward for our game. You guys have such a great platform, so thank you for doing it. We're excited about the week. We're trying to make this more of a national event. Being in Nashville for the draft last year really opened my eyes to how big this whole process is becoming. So we have the Senior Bowl Summit on Thursday. It's going to be, you guys were part of that last year, our first ever. Gary Vee is going to keynote that. Friday night we're having a Mardi Gras parade because Mobile's the home of Mardi Gras. So the players are going to be in their school issue jerseys so people know who they are. They're going to be chucking autographed footballs.
Oh, that's great.
And we're announcing a big concert on Thursday, with a great act. We're expecting 10,000 to 15,000 people downtown Mobile for that event. So
get out of here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a great week. Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Where's the fast forward button? I want to get to Mobile. Let's go.
Hey, let's go. I mean, we're getting close here. Talking about 32 days until we kick off Senior Bowl week. So thanks everybody so much for watching this special edition of the Move the Sticks podcast, which will be down in Mobile as well as we are throughout the week with special editions, all kinds of great interviews that we get, terrific content down in Mobile. Again, practice recap shows January 21st through the 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we get the Senior Bowl live, 2:30 Eastern Time, January 25th, all right here on NFL Network, your home for the Reese's Senior Bowl. Our thanks to Jim Nagy, the Executive Director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, for joining us here. And thanks to all of you for watching here. A reminder, tell your friends you can go ahead and download this episode as well as we're finishing up here wherever you normally get your Move the Sticks audio podcast content. So thanks again for being with us, and we'll see you next time.